What's up gang, my name is Albert Aldridge, the Fat Loss Nutrition Coach, and in today's video I'm going to be explaining the diet you need to follow to get shredded and lean. So I'm going to be explaining the best foods for fat loss. That's what's coming up. Before we start the video, if you're interested in losing weight and losing body fat in 2020, then make sure you download my free weight loss guide. It's the first link in the YouTube description. All you need to do is click the link, then type in your first name and email, and then I'll start sending the course to you. The layout of this video is going to be, I'm going to talk about how you need to manipulate your calories in order to target body fat loss. Then I'm going to talk about the different drinks and foods you need to include in your diet to be able to target body fat loss, and so you can lose body fat slowly over time. First of all, with losing body fat, it's the incorporation of resistance training alongside a good weight loss diet that's targeted to lose fat. So you need to work out your maintenance calories, then eat at the start 250 calories below your maintenance, and then slowly take them down over time whilst including refeed days. I've got plenty of videos on that on my channel, so you just need to scroll through my channel. I'll put a link in the YouTube description to how you can work out your maintenance calories. And the resistance training intervention alongside your fat loss diet is going to help you to grow lean muscle tissue, or maintain as much muscle tissue as possible depending on how much weight training you've done previously. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about with losing body fat are the types of drinks you should include in your diet. So obviously drinking a lot of water every day is essential for hydration and also to make sure you get your minerals in for the day. Plus our bodies are made up of roughly 70% of water, and staying hydrated will help with concentration and elevated energy levels throughout the whole day. But a few hacks alongside meals: if you're having a high carb meal during your fat loss diet, then I'd recommend having a 500ml glass of water before and after the meal, because it's going to help bloat you out with the fibre you have in the meal and also with the carbohydrate source. For example, with me, when I have fizzy water, so a carbonated drink, with a meal where I have a lot of couscous, then I find I feel full and satiated for a long period of time, just because I find it bloats me out. Which is great because then I don't have to think about eating for the next few hours. So a lot of water before and after the meal, having a carbonated drink during the meal or before and after, and then because it can be a bit boring just having water plain on its own, then I like to add like a little bit of squash, not loads of squash, because sometimes people add too much and then they're adding a load of calories to their diet without realising. Just adding a little bit of squash to give it a bit of flavour. Or what I like to do is have diet sodas such as Pepsi Max, Diet Dr Pepper Zero, Diet 7up, which are practically 0 calories per can, per 330ml can. Just don't go excessive on the amount you have, just 1 to 2 per day. Usually I'd recommend 1, because you know what, if you start having a lot of Pepsi Max on your teeth, then you might start to stain your teeth if you don't clean them properly. Next thing I'm going to mention are vegetables. They are obviously essential during a fat loss diet, because having a lot of vegetables, you're able to do that for a low amount of calories, and it's going to help you add a lot of food volume to your meals. But make sure you be careful with the vegetables you choose, because sometimes people put things like parsnips and potatoes, they compare them to things like cabbage and spinach, which are low GI vegetables, much lower in calories per 100 grams. When I say low GI levels, what that means is that green leafy vegetables such as cabbage, spinach, lettuce, celery, they don't spike blood sugar levels when you have them. So what that means is that when you've had some, that won't mean that your blood sugar levels spike and that you feel very hungry very quickly, because that's usually what happens when your blood sugar levels spike. So when you have a lot of those green leafy vegetables included in your diet, that means that won't happen, and it's going to help you feel full for a long period of time. But if you have types of vegetables, perhaps such as parsnips or potatoes, that are much higher in calories per 100 grams, they're roughly about 70 to 80 calories per 100 grams, then they can spike sugar levels a little bit more, and that might make you feel hungry more quickly. But they're definitely good to include within a weight loss diet. You just have to kind of trial and error with the vegetables that you have, because you'll find that some vegetables make you feel more hungry more quickly, more than others. Also make sure you have a very colourful amount of vegetables, so carrots, peppers, red peppers, green leafy vegetables, yellow ones as well, just because they all contain different vitamins, minerals and micronutrients that you need to contain within your diet for cardiovascular disease, eye health, protecting yourself against hypertension and diabetes, all the metabolic diseases. Having at least 5 portions of fruit and veg a day is essential, but studies have shown people who have even more than 8 portions of fruit and vegetables a day are more protected against these cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. I'll put links to literature in the YouTube description. Next thing, a really good lean protein source. This isn't a vegan protein source, but it is vegetarian. Quark cheese and cottage cheese, low fat ones, typically around 50 to 70 calories per 100 grams, including 10 to 12 grams of protein per 100 grams. What you can do is, what I like to do is make it like a cheesecake. Add about 10 grams of a hot chocolate instant powder to it, which is about 40 calories, and then you mix it up. So if you have 200 grams of the quark cheese for about 120 calories, add the chocolate instant powder, that makes it about 160 calories, and it tastes like a chocolate pudding. It tastes awesome and is a bit like a cheesecake. And if you have some spare calories, you can get really low calorie wafers that you add to ice cream, which are about 20-30 calories each. You can crack that on top, so it adds a bit of texture and it tastes more and more like a healthy cheesecake. Definitely recommend adding that into the diet if you have a sweet tooth like myself. Other good sources of low calorie sweet things include ice cream, such as Halo Top. You may have come across that before, and own brands of supermarkets have their own versions now of low calorie ice cream, which are also higher in protein, some of the brands. I've got one from Tesco before, which is a cookies and cream flavour, which has been 350 calories for the whole tub, which is about 500ml pint, I think that's the size of them, and it's been about 20 grams of protein within the whole pot. So look out for them, the Halo Top brand, as well as the supermarket's own versions of these protein ice creams or low calorie ice creams. Definitely recommend you trying them. Eggs are really good for including in your diet, definitely the yolk and the egg white. Egg white is higher in protein, so sometimes I like to get liquid egg whites. I don't do that too often because I'm on a higher amount of calories personally. But if you're on a low amount of calories, then just make sure you get it from a good brand such as Muscle Food. I don't get sponsored by them, but I have bought egg whites from them before, and they make sure it's a free range egg white and it's not tampered with too much. But their egg whites are a really good source of protein per 100 grams, about 50 calories and 10 grams in per 100 mils of egg whites. So make sure you include them as well as egg yolks. Egg yolks are very good, and eggs in general are good for cholesterol health. If you aren't a vegetarian and you do include meat and fish in your diet, then I do recommend chicken breast. That's an obvious one. It's really good at adding different flavours to it. I like to have sweet and sour sauce, black bean sauce. I like to do gravy with it as well sometimes. It's really good. You can put lots of different flavours with it. Having chicken breast with low calorie vegetables, like a low calorie stir fry, cutting it up, putting a low calorie sweet and sour sauce on it, you can have a good 400 or 500 calorie meal, which is going to really fill you up, especially if you have it with a lot of liquid on the side. I've done that before and even created like a bit of a broth with it because I've added some hot water to it as well. So you get hot water, like a hot sweet and sour soup, low calorie vegetables, and then a lot of protein from the chicken breast. Definitely recommend that. Codfish, really good. If you compare codfish, the nutritional values, compared to whey protein, then codfish is actually better because it's 98 calories per 100 grams and you get approximately 23 to 25 grams of protein, which is better than the standard nutrition label of whey protein. So definitely advise you guys to go for that. You can get lean pork medallions. I've got that before and that's been really tasty. And if we're focusing more on fish again, sea bass and salmon, really good source of omega-3, which is going to help with joint health. And then a low calorie, high protein source from fish are shrimps and scallops. Those two you should look for in supermarkets because you can add a lot of protein and a lot of volume to your meal by adding these as well. I like to do that. I haven't done so much with shrimps because I don't really like them too much, but codfish really is a good favourite of mine, adding tomato ketchup. Finally, some meat-free versions for vegans out there. I think this first one is a vegetarian one, which are Quorn pieces. You can get chicken Quorn pieces and beef Quorn strips. They are really, really tasty because I think they've derived the Quorn bits from miso protein. I think it's what they call it on the nutritional packet. You can add them to noodles, add them to stir fries. They are very, very tasty. a vegan protein source, edamame beans. You can get them in the pod or out of the pod. They are typically 153 calories and 12 grams of protein, 14 grams of protein per 100 grams. Really, really good vegan protein source. I was surprised when I looked it up myself. And finally, tofu. Again, very versatile. You can add lots of different flavours to it, but you must add a flavour to it, otherwise it's very bland. 120 calories and 12 grams of protein per 100 grams. Then lentils and kidney beans. Add a lot of fibre and a lot of volume to meals, and you can add them to sauces and stuff. You can make a good mean bean chili con carne, which is a vegan friendly recipe. My friend's done that for me before, and it's been very tasty. Finally, one quick tip for those of you who've got a sweet tooth like myself. The final tip is choose sweet foods that are chocolatey, if you like chocolate, and very airy. So what I'm talking about is, an example would be with cereals, if we're looking at that, Cocoa Pops, 380 calories per 100 grams, but compare it to something like, I think we call it it's a chocolatey granola mix you can standardly buy in any supermarket, which is more towards the 460, 480 calorie range per 100 grams. If you look at it in the bowl though, you get so much more volume for the Cocoa Pops compared to the granola, and it's just because the Cocoa Pops are rice pops, so there's a lot more air in them, but it looks like you're eating a lot more chocolate within the bowl. Hope this video helped. Make sure you smash the subscribe button and the like button. Share this with your friends, because I'm trying to grow this channel as much as I can. I look forward to seeing you in my next Road to the Games episode. See ya. Before we start the video, if you're interested in losing fat and losing weight in 2020, then download my free weight loss guide. Blah, I can't even say it.